The rumour mill is in full swing and it's about that time for the Carabao Cup semi-finals. You're watching Foot and Mouth. Welcome back to Foot in Mouth. The January transfer window is upon us and rumours are starting to pick up some steam. Actually, there's going to be a lot of rumours. About 99.9% of them are not going to follow through. And we are going to talk about some of those rumors today because a lot of clubs need to be active. So some of these rumors definitely will have some truth behind them. And we'll start with Arsenal. Naturally, everybody knows that Arsenal need a striker. And Arsenal are being linked with some strikers, namely Omar Marmoush or Marmoush, not very sure how to say the name, from Eintracht Frankfurt. He's been tipped to be the new Mo Salah, which is a very weird thing to say when the player that they tipped to be the next version of is still currently thriving at the same time. But yeah, the new Mo Salah is a 25-year-old striker from Frankfurt. Not only a striker, he has been said to be quite versatile, but some decent stats. Definitely decent stats. Can see why Arsenal are looking at him, not only because of the versatility, but also because of the fact that so far this season he's made 24 appearances across all competitions and he's got 14 goals and 12 assists, which is a very decent return in regard of what Arsenal currently have. You know what I mean? Without Bukayo Saka, we have no goals apparently. So I can understand why the club will be looking at this player. I would believe the rumours. And on top of that, apparently it's not just Arsenal looking at him. We've got Liverpool interested in him as well. Anybody that Liverpool looks at, I think, is a player that's worth signing. But it is coming out today, this morning, that Man City have now emerged as front runners for this player's signature. It makes sense that Man City need him. So I think this is another rumor that has real legs, because the clubs that are being linked to the player, it makes sense. It's not just throwing out any random names there. And it's a player that I think has the quality from all accounts that he could fit into any of these teams, you know, whether it be as a starting player or as a backup, which would be the case if he goes to Man City. So Man City apparently have proposed a 5-year offer to the player, proposed a contract. Player's happy with it. There's reports suggesting that he's got his heart set on Man City. And I guess he would eventually be, if this happens, he would be Alvarez's replacement, which they didn't get in the last transfer window. I still think it was crazy. They got very good money for Alvarez, but they did bring no one else in. And when you have these moments where someone like Erling Haaland is in a slump, you basically put yourself in a position where you've got nobody to rotate him out with for him to kind of work back into that starting 11. So a player like this makes a lot of sense. It'll be good competition for Erling Haaland. Although once he hits form, there's no such thing as competition for Erling Haaland. It's not just Marmoush that Arsenal are linked with. We've been reportedly have made a bid of £20 million to Botafogo in Brazil for Brazilian striker Igor Jesus. It's another Jesus that Arteta is looking to bring into the club. It's Gabriel's and it's Jesus's. That's Arteta's preference. This guy's much younger. He's a 23-year-old. He doesn't have anywhere near as remarkable goal scoring tally as Marmoush does at this point. But this is another signing that I think could make sense. Arteta does like the Brazilian players. We've had a lot of luck with it in the past in Gabriel Martinelli, despite his current form. I still think that for 6 mil, you got quite a bargain there. 20 mil being rejected, so Botafogo obviously want more than that. How much higher Arsenal are willing to go, I'm not sure, but it's not my money, so spend whatever you got to spend. He does seem very much like a like-for-like player with Gabriel Jesus, to be fair. Like, his whole playing style revolves around dropping deep to link up play, triggering a press, but he also is not the best at following through and engaging with challenges, which I kind of think is a deal breaker for Arteta at this point. He's made it very clear that he wants his players to win these challenges, win these duels. So I guess he has that going against him. I still think that in terms of a stopgap signing, because he is being labeled as a short-term reinforcement going into the summer transfer window, where Arsenal are going to sign a big boy number 1 striker. You know, when they're looking at someone like Alexander Isak, or they're looking at someone like Benjamin Sesko, this makes more sense. You know, for Marmoush, especially with his goal scoring form, you can bet that if he's moving on in January, Frankfurt are going to ask for a pretty penny. They did actually just get Marmoush from Wolfsburg at the end of last season for free. So anything they get for him is going to be serious profit. So I don't think that he being Marmoush, will be in the same price range as this Igor Jesus guy. So Arsenal may be more likely to lean towards Igor. I just don't know if it's worth it when it's currently not working out with Gabriel Jesus. Why would you go ahead and look at a player that has basically the same makeup of player? It doesn't make sense to me. The Marmoush thing makes more sense to me. But again, money-wise, it's going to make a lot of sense in January. It's going to be very ideal for Arsenal. There are lots of talks that they are planning on spending big on the striker at the end of the season. So if that is the case and you want to, hold on to as much cash as possible in the build-up to that summer transfer window, this player does make sense. And again, he's young. He's versatile. He can play out wide. He's Brazilian. So we've got a nice Brazilian contingency going on at the club right now. Clearly, Arteta does like the market, so I'd believe it if this went through. Another player that Arsenal are linked with, and not just Arsenal, but Kolo Muani from PSG. Remember him? Everybody saw him at the World Cup, where he did have a decent time, I will say. And yeah, Arsenal reportedly one of the clubs in line to sign him. But Man United, I think, from what I've been reading at least, seem to be a little bit more front runners for his signature. It could be a double swoop at PSG for Man United, because Moani is not the only player they've been linked with that side. But yeah, Moani to Arsenal, this is ideal for me, in my opinion. I think it would be a loan. It wouldn't be an out-and-out transfer. And I think he's just got a lot more experience, especially when you consider that, this is the first time we're hearing Marmoush's name. Igor Jesus is so young and he only plays Brazilian football. And if he's struggling with challenges in the Brazilian league, he's going to have a much harder time in the Premier League. Moani, I think, is at least tried and tested at the highest level, internationally and at club level. Yes, he's not a superstar and he hasn't absolutely stolen the headlines every chance he gets when he's on the pitch. But I think that considering the development that he's had at his age already and the teams that he's been a part of already, I think he's at least got the most maturity to make a move to Arsenal out of the options that have been linked with Arsenal so far. He's someone that I think is going to work hard. He's someone that we know has some serious pace, which Arsenal could do with more of at this moment. But yeah, finishing wise, he's never exactly stolen the show. So on that alone, I'd say is the one thing that probably could hold him back here. But again, it is a short-term loan move. I feel like that's low risk. It's going to be the most cost-effective, and you're getting a player that I think is literally already ready for senior level football. So I'm fingers crossed a little bit for the Moani thing. If that is the best name is going to be linked with Arsenal, I wouldn't be mad to see him join the club. But yeah, I still think if we're looking for a goal scorer, then as things stand, I'd rather the club push for Marmoush. But yeah, again, like I said, he's not exactly going to come cheap. And then, of course, we have also been linked with Matthias Cunha from Wolves, who wouldn't be at this point. The player's having a really good season. But there are also more reports suggesting that he is on the verge of signing a new deal with Wolves. And I don't know if this is just so that he can kind of guarantee them a higher transfer fee for his eventual move. Maybe he does have a lot of love for the club, which is a nice thing to consider. But I think that this is probably him just being able to guarantee that they can get a bigger fee. But either way, I think he will leave Wolves at some point. And this is probably going to be a deal that has like a release clause in his contract in the event that Wolves do get relegated. And it'll probably be like a low fee on that release clause if he can negotiate it in. So yeah, it doesn't look like Arsenal are going to be getting Matthias Cunha, which I guess is a bit of a disappointment. But at the same time, it's still not the striker, and he wouldn't have come cheap either. Even if Arsenal did attempt to sign him in January, he would not have come any cheaper than Marmoush, I think. So, if Man City are actually absolutely front runners for the Marmoush signature, then start looking elsewhere immediately. But if these are just rumors, which they very well may be, I am hoping that Arsenal do go after Marmoush. I will say I like the sound of his profile. His goals and assists tally for the season so far speak for itself. But at the same time, joining the Premier League, that's a whole different can of worms, man. There's no telling how he's going to do in the Premier League. But if he's been labelled as the new Mo Salah, then maybe it'll be worth taking a gamble on at this point, Now, of course, there will be some ridiculous rumors going around. And one that I saw today from Relovo, the always outstanding publication Relovo, they are reporting that Virgil van Dijk's apparently been offered to Real Madrid. And Real Madrid have turned that offer down because they are of the belief that Van Dijk is on the verge of signing a new deal at Liverpool. Now, Obviously, I think this rumor is absolute bogus. But I will say that I think there is truth in Virgil van Dijk being close to signing a new deal with Liverpool. I think of the three that are up in the air now at Liverpool, Trent, Salah, Van Dijk. Van Dijk, for me, makes the most sense to stay put. You know, at his age already, he is absolutely going down already as a club and Premier League legend. But I just think that this is a player who could probably bow out at Liverpool, you know, sign another 2 or 3 year deal. They're not exactly going to drop his salary crazy. He obviously has a lot of love for the club. Things are going well for him in the league as well. He could pull a Thiago Silva, you know, play till he's 37, 38 even. So that makes sense to me. I believe that part of the rumor. I do not believe that he's been offered to Real Madrid though. But yeah, of those three players at Liverpool, I think Van Dijk extending is one that I'd put money on at this point. Another player that was reportedly on the verge of leaving Liverpool this window is a new boy, Federico Chiesa. Napoli apparently keen to bring him in January on loan, but Chiesa's agent has come out and said outright that Chiesa is going nowhere. And Liverpool fans, let me know if you think that sounds like a good thing to y'all. I mean, why would you want him to leave? He's barely played for the club so far. There's a lot of games coming up in full swing. You know, like I said at the beginning, this is the Carabao Cup week. So there's every chance that Chiesa, if he's fit and available, every chance that he has some more minutes in this game against Spurs, across the 2 legs even. So yeah, obviously the agent has come out and put it to bed, so there's not much rumor here. But just in terms of the player, are you happy to keep him around, Liverpool fans? At Manchester United, I mentioned earlier on the interest in Kolo Muani of PSG and him not being the only player that they have interest in at the club. Another player that Fabrizio Romano is reporting that they're looking at from PSG is Nuno Mendes, the left back, obviously. He's got 18 months left on his deal. Makes all the sense in the world that Manchester United will be looking at a new left back. Makes even more sense that it's a Portuguese player because Ruben Amorim is there, Bruno Fernandes is there. Man United and Portugal players, they've always gone hand in hand. I did also see a report, though, that suggested that Mendes is not going to try and force his way out for a club that doesn't have Champions League football. Sick burn, Nuno. It makes sense, like I said, that United will be looking at him. The fact that he's got so few months left on his contract mean that United could, you know, pull off a bit of a deal here. They are known to overspend, but I think that they could at least find fair value for a player here, and it's a player that they could use and do need. But yeah, it's obviously all down to the project. At this point, Man United don't look very likely to make Champions League football at the end of the season. So I could understand a player having reservations, but Manchester United's name is Manchester United. So that could easily change, bro. Lots of players have been drawn by the magic that is that club for some reason. But yeah, it's not one that I think is going to go quiet anytime soon. I think Man United do need a left back. I do also think that yeah, it just seems like a prime target, you know, 18 months left on the deal. He's Portuguese. He's proven at the top level as well. He's someone that's got a lot of experience in that position. So yeah, I could see United following through with the interest here. And my favorite rumor so far that I've seen, also related to Man United, is that apparently Anthony is being linked with a move to Olympiacos. Now, this is according to The Sun. And I just want to say, Anthony, if you're watching the show, take the move, bro. If there's even a chance of it, go. Chelsea are set to bring in a new centre-back this transfer window, and that makes sense because they currently got the younger centre-back partnership in the league, and that is obviously thanks to injuries to other players at the club. And the main name that's being floated about with them is Mark Gahey, obviously at Crystal Palace. Used to be a Chelsea boy, so this is going to be their second attempt at trying to re-sign him if they do follow through with the interest that's been reported. They tried to get him ahead of this new season, but Crystal Palace held out for a £75 million transfer fee. And it looked like it worked because they kept their guy. They kept Chelsea at bay. So I don't know if Palace is still going to have that much of a firm stance going into this transfer window. If Chelsea do come forward with another bid, I don't even know if Mark Gahey is going to be. Maybe he'll force his way out at this point. You know, Crystal Palace aren't exactly having the best of times in the league, and Chelsea have some serious promise there now. So there's every chance that Gahey insists on wanting the move back to Chelsea this time. I think I can't fault him for saying no when Chelsea first came in for him, because Crystal Palace did look very much like they were on the up and up under Glasner, but things just haven't been working out at their club since. So this is one that I think makes a lot of sense. Chelsea obviously have money, and let's be honest, they'll probably end up selling a few players or just sending a few players out on loan to balance the books. And then Spurs obviously have made a signing already. They've signed a goalkeeper, Antonin Kinski, who's been labelled as the new Peter Cech. So fingers crossed that that doesn't work out for Spurs. But they do have a new goalkeeper. They have needed a new goalkeeper ever since Vicardio's injury. So we'll see how this works out for Spurs and Ange Postecoglou. He is going to be joining at a very tough time because Spurs obviously have a game against Liverpool tomorrow night. And I'm not sure if he'll start. I don't know if he'll be registered in time. But if he does, then that's going to be a proper trial by fire. But yep, that's at least one signing that has been made. Wolves have also signed a new striker this season, this transfer window. I cannot get to his name right now though, but £20 million signing. Wolves obviously doing all they can to avoid that drop. They are playing it very, very close to the edge there. But yeah, they have their problem this season has been finishing, so it makes sense that they sign a striker. But that does it for the rumors that I've at least come across this season, this morning. Jeez, let me know in the comments below if there's anything major that I've missed out on or any transfer rumors that you've seen that you want to talk about. And let's get on to the Carabao Cup. Carabao Cup football semi-final, leg 1 tonight. Arsenal at home to Newcastle. And let me tell you, I'm a little bit nervous about this one. When the draw was made, I was happy. I was like, yep, this is definitely the lesser of three evils because it was either Newcastle, Liverpool, or Spurs. Out of the batch, I did want Newcastle. At the time, I think Arsenal looked a little bit better. And now that the game is upon us, and based on what we've just seen from Arsenal against Brighton, I don't know what to make of this fixture anymore. But I predicted an Arsenal win for the Brighton game, of course. It ended 1-1. It wasn't a good show. So I think our main saving grace is that the first leg's at least at the Emirates. Something that I said a while ago already. Arsenal need to take advantage of. And not only the fact that we are at home and take advantage of that, but the fact that Newcastle aren't going to have Bruno Guimaraes and they're not going to have Fabian Schär. Both players are suspended for the first leg. They are obviously still going to have Alexander Isak. And they are obviously going to have Anthony Gordon. Two players that seem to be enjoying their football very much these days. And look, let's be real. Newcastle are going to throw everything they have at us. That's how they play. Arsenal versus Newcastle has become a bit of a nervy fixture for me now because Newcastle have a lot of strength in that team. And I think that they've got a lot of the dark arts as well. We don't have Ben White, which means that we've got far less dark arts in us. But I would like to see Arsenal line up strong. And I mean that physically. You know, I think this is a game where you're going to see a midfield of Declan Rice, Mikel Merino, and Martin Odegaard. But then again, considering our right wing issue with Saka's injury and also with Ethan Nwaneri's injury in the Brighton game, you know, Arteta has mentioned at least that Martin Odegaard can play on the right. He's also said that Kai Havertz can play on the right. So maybe he just goes left field, you know, and you just bully up the midfield with Mikel Merino, Declan Rice, and Thomas Partey, and then you throw Odegaard on the right wing. I don't know how ideal that would be. You know, we've never seen Odegaard play on the right wing. We've seen him use the channels on the right-hand side of the pitch before, and he does that quite well. So I'd like to say it'll work out fine. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot of question marks over that right wing position for this game. You know, I'm not very, very much in favor of seeing Martinelli tried out on the right with Trossard on the left because Trossard has looked very average for the longest time now. Martinelli did impress a little bit when he filled in for Bukayo Saka after Saka's injury at right wing. I just don't know if he'll have any joy in this game because this Newcastle team are definitely tougher than the other opponents we've played in recent times with Martinelli tried out at right wing. So, I don't know, man. I think, you know, if I had my way, I think I would go with Jesus on the right wing, Havertz as striker, and then go with Declan Rice, Merino, and Odegaard midfield. Could also be a good game for Jorginho, in all honesty. But yeah, I think let's go with players that have got the most minutes in their league so far because there's not going to be any time for anybody to get into the swing of things. And Jorginho's been a bit too in and out of the team for me. But I like our chances. I like our chances because we're at home. I like our chances because of Newcastle's absentees. And I like our chances because defensively, I think we are still fairly solid. Alexander Isak's going to be a very big problem. So is Anthony Gordon, a player that has punished us in the past before. And yeah, I guess that right back issue, I keep forgetting about the right back issue. You know, Thomas Partey may play at right back again, which I can't stress enough how much I don't like to see this. So could be Anthony Gordon versus Thomas Partey, which means that Newcastle are going to have a lot of joy up the left-hand side of the pitch whenever they're on the ball. And Arsenal's going to have to make sure that that doesn't happen. They're going to have to make sure they hold on to possession as often as possible. I think the defenders are going to need to offer a lot of support to Thomas Partey on that side of the pitch if he is playing at right back. Because, yeah, Anthony Gordon, the form that he's in, I don't like that matchup at all. I would much rather Yuri and Timber were here. Unless Arteta does see this as an opportunity to throw Calafiori out at right back. We've seen him do something similar when we first saw Tommy Yasu played at left back out of the blue against Liverpool, and Tommy Yasu absolutely controlled Mo Salah in that game. So maybe Ricardo Calafiori can do the same with Anthony Gordon if he's deployed at right back, but I don't know. I think Arteta's going to go with tried and tested, which means Thomas Partey at right back. Regardless of how we line up, though, I think this is a massive opportunity for Arsenal. We have got to put this whole tie to bed at the Emirates. I think the return fixture to St. James Park is going to be a nightmare from kickoff, bro. So Newcastle, hell-bent on making it to a final, hell-bent on winning a trophy for the club. I think Alexander Isak, especially if he does plan on leaving the club at the end of the season, he's going to want to send them off with the trophy. So they will be up for it, and they are not going to come to the Emirates scared. We've seen this before. They're going to come to the Emirates, they are going to play hardball. So Arsenal just need to maintain control of the pace of the game, maintain possession as much as they can, and we need to take our chances. Oh my days, we need to take our chances. Any goal-scoring opportunity needs to result in a goal. Ideally for this game, my prediction would be 3-0 Arsenal. That's a fairy tale right now. I know that full well. It would be 3-0. Realistically speaking, I'm going to say we can do a 2-0 victory. We have to keep a clean sheet, in my opinion. And we've got to score more than one goal at the very least, bro. Otherwise, I think going to St. James Park, I think we'd be out of it. I can't lie. If we go into the St. James Park second leg and we have a 1-goal lead on aggregate, I honestly think that Newcastle would end up going through to the final. I do hope that they get a trophy. I did say I hope it's not at the expense of Arsenal. And tonight is going to be the main sign of how this is going to work out, bro. Genuine. So, yeah, I'm going to go for an Arsenal win. I don't think it's going to be an easy game. There's no telling how the players are even going to turn up because of this bug that's been going through the team. We saw Martin Odegaard looked cooked against Brighton when he came on from the bench. And yeah, if that Martin Odegaard shows up today, then we're done for, bro. We absolutely need all of our top players performing. We need 8 out of 10s from everybody. 8 out of 10s from everybody. This is a semi-final, but it's actually going to feel like a final. It needs to be treated like a final. Because Arteta also, he needs to start adding Silverway to that cabinet. 5 years in, he's got 1 FA Cup. He's got, 2 Community Shields, if you count those, which most people don't. But yeah, I think this is a huge game for Arsenal. Biggest game of this season so far. And we got to show up. So I'd like to see a 3-0, but I'm going to predict a 2-0 Arsenal win. 2-0 Arsenal win against Newcastle. And then, of course, tomorrow night we got the first leg of Liverpool versus Spurs, and that's at Anfield. It's at Spurs home. And then, of course, tomorrow night we've got Liverpool versus Spurs. This is at Spurs home first. Big moment for Ange Postecoglou. I just mentioned the same stuff for Arsenal and Newcastle. It's no different for Spurs. Those 3 clubs absolutely need this trophy more than Liverpool do. Spurs just have the misfortune of having to get to the final through Liverpool. So again, this is just, me not being biased towards Spurs. I'm predicting the Liverpool win here over both legs. I think that it's going to be a Liverpool versus Newcastle or Arsenal final. Considering that Spurs even being at home doesn't mean too much, They've obviously lost the Wolves at home recently. They've lost to Newcastle at home recently. So they aren't on the best run of home form. Liverpool visiting, it doesn't get any better for them. So I think, Spurs are going to have a lot of work to do. They cannot play the same way that they always play against this Liverpool side, because Liverpool will punish you, bro. Any mistake, any opening that you leave, they will exploit it and they will punish you for it. Liverpool also not going to line up weak, It's an away game. All the more reason for them to strengthen up that lineup, even though there are a lot of games still to come. They're going to go full strength. Spurs are going to do the same. And full strength versus full strength, Spurs don't have a chance. So this is going to be my usual other team is going to beat Spurs prediction. And because it's Liverpool, I honestly think that most of you would agree here, bro. There are times for debate, and this match is not one of them. I'm going to go Liverpool win this game. I'm going to say 3-1 Liverpool. and then just wrap things up when they go to Anfield, bro. So, yep, that does it for rumors in the transfer window so far. That does it for predictions for the Carabao Cup fixtures. Let me know your predictions for the games happening this week. And yeah, next time we sit down, we'll be talking Premier League, and hopefully there'll be some more activity in the transfer market to talk about as well. Thank you for watching the show. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you in the next one.